So I just wanted to speak a little bit on the subject of, um, well, the broader term of homeopathic, naturalistic medicines, and making your own medicines at home and not using pharmaceuticals. Unless you absolutely have to, like you have to go to the ER or something. But and just specifically cannabis is what I want to talk about right now. And the main thing, the main subject I always go right to when I talk about cannabis, as far as like people who want to argue against it, is and I'll post a link down below in the description box that discusses this case. So I'm gonna have to look it up. So, but I saw this on television years ago. Probably, God, 20 years ago, maybe. But anyway, it's a well-known case for people who have researched cannabis and all the different aspects, the political implications, all the propaganda from so there was a federal case, and I believe it started with 7 patients, if I'm not mistaken. 7 federal patients. They sued the federal government, fighting for their right to their medicine. And they had very serious chronic illnesses. I can't remember all the specifics. I'll find an article, and if you guys are interested, please check it out. It'll be a brief article, and it's good to know this. So, not only did these, all of them win their case. I think it was a collective, like a class, like all together. They sued all together, all 7 together. I don't think there were individual cases, so it was like a class action lawsuit, I believe. So probably a Supreme Court case if you're suing the federal government. I'm not sure, but yeah. So, but the main thing is that they not only won their case, okay, but part of the decision of the case that ruled in their favor was that the federal government had to supply these patients with their cannabis, with their medicine, sent to their house via the federal mail, okay? And I believe it was like a monthly dispensation, or whatever the amount was agreed upon, And I'm not sure if any of the patients are still surviving. Last time I checked, I believe 2 of them were still living. And so they got their cannabis until they die, okay? Supplied free by the federal government, sent via federal, USPS, United States Postal Service. But yet, okay, and then state law, okay, another point is that state laws conflict with federal laws, because federal law says you can't sell cannabis, right? But yet California, many states now have dispensaries. But yet when the feds come in, they bust the business owners, but the businesses only exist because the state allowed them to. And so see how they come down on the little guy instead of realizing it doesn't make any sense that federal and state law conflict with each other. Is that not like total insanity and backwardness? Okay? And then they don't respond to that argument. It's like they just ignore the fact that they contradict themselves. Okay, and then they want to blame us, the people, you know, who are following the law. We abide by the law, you know. So, um, so I just thought that was, you know, that's a fact that you know, a lot of people may not be aware of. And there's still a lot of brainwashing out there, and this is one thing that they, you know, there was a lot of propaganda against, a lot of brainwashing. The term marijuana itself, that's why I use the scientific name, because they associated, that was one of the tools of propaganda that they used, was associating migrant farm workers with this, you know, this substance, Mary Jane, marijuana, and you know, saying how it makes you lazy and dopey and all this other stuff, you know. But my perspective on that is, like, if you work hard, you deserve to. A man works hard, let him have a freaking beer, smoke a joint. What, you know what I mean? Like, he's not. Drunkenness is wickedness. You know, you can, if you know what your limit is, you can have an ounce or two of, you know, depending on how, you know, how much you can drink and not get a buzz. Okay? And it's not good to drink every day, or if you do, just have that, you know, little 4-ounce glass of wine. Or, you know, I've known a lot of, like, Italians who, they make sure they have their 4 ounces of red wine every day. Nonna made sure she had, you know, and she lived in 92. But she didn't smoke cigarettes. She didn't, you know, she ate healthy. She made all her own food. You know, this is someone who's the grandmother of an ex of mine who I was with for 9 years, and his dad's side, straight up Italian, straight up old country. He was second generation born in this country, because his dad was first generation born here, because his grandmother was actually from, both his grandparents on his dad's side, okay, were from Italy. So, you know, just the simple ways, you know, the natural life, things that are natural. Fermentation's a natural process. That's why so many things that are fermented are so good for you. Like things that I always have around the house. I always have organic apple cider vinegar, miso, and I just realized the natural food store has organic miso, so I'm going to start getting it there. And kombucha, and that's usually almost always organic, any kombucha you find. So, you know, and you can make your own. There's scobies. You can. I mean, there's people like almost giving those things away. And SCOBY is a SCOBY, symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. Okay, so, you know, and miso, and they all have a lot of B vitamins, the good bacteria, especially if you don't eat a lot of dairy. I don't eat yogurt, cheese very rarely, maybe if I have some pizza or something, but so that's how I get my good bacteria, or just dry acidophilus. But, you know, we need to take care of ourselves naturally, because, you know, pharmaceutical drugs are just a Band-Aid, and who knows what's in that. It's made in somewhere, who knows where, you know, who knows what's in that. It could have all kinds of toxic levels of, you know, God. And all those factories have, you know, Morgellons all over it. It's just, they're spraying it everywhere. So it's like, it's in everything that's manufactured. Everything's, okay, so it's not any kind of fear thing to be afraid of. But, you know, this is why we need to get back to basics. You know, the backyard gardening and homeopathic remedies and preventative medicine, using herbs and different, you know, this alchemy of just working with nature. So yeah, if you guys want to check out, I'll post an article below that talks about that case. And then if you want to just, you know, explore different aspects of cannabis, you know, I've done extensive research on this because of all, you know, the illnesses that I've had to deal with. you know, I don't even like to take an anti-inflammatory. The last time I took an naproxen, and they don't even do anything anyway. And an naproxen is just an anti-inflammatory. It's not even I don't take painkillers, anything like that. Uh, they make me nauseous because, so I've never, this whole time I've been dealing with this, I don't take painkillers for anything. I had some Motrin when I had a tooth pulled, and there, whatever's left of them still in the cupboard. So yeah, I don't like to take something to go to sleep, and then something to kill pain, and then something to this or that. I'd rather, food is your medicine, okay? The stuff that grows out of the ground, people may disagree, but some people use coca leaves. If you're high up in the Andes, where the elevation, it's so high, the air is very thin, so there's a lot less oxygen, okay? So you can get very, they can deal with a lot of chronic fatigue because of that, okay? Because of the low density of oxygen, okay? It's like altitude sickness people can get, okay? But, so they're kind of always functioning at that lower, so what they do is they will chew the coca leaves, and it gives them like pep, like coffee does, like we drink coffee, okay? But it's only when you start refining things and the evil intention that's in that, it starts, becoming a sin against nature. And so that's kind of like what pharmaceuticals do. They take the medicine away from you that God gave you, and they sell it back to you in what they say you should use, okay? And with cannabis, especially if you're suffering from inflammation, I've dealt with horrible inflammation, and it's not because of that. I mean, I have an excellent diet, all that stuff, staying positive. So, sometimes it's just these things in the environment, and you're sensitive, you're gonna have to go through it, and it's just, but it toughens you up, and you have a higher and higher level of tolerance for pain. So it helps you get through rough times, so one thing about the inflammation with cannabis is, in an edible form, when you make a tincture with it and other things, and not smoking it, okay, that destroys a lot of the, that you're just getting high off the THC, and a real quick, fast, intense high, okay, and then just diminishes quickly as well. With when you eat it or use it on your skin, you can absorb it through your skin. So you can use it topically. You can make a tincture. You can make butter, oils using. I prefer plant-based oils and butters. So coconut butter. Okay, so when you ingest it that way, it doesn't get beyond boiling temperature, the boiling temperature of water, which I believe is 220 degrees, something like that. 220, 222, right around there. So, the twin flame numbers. So, there's this thing called interleukin, and specifically 2 and 10, and I get them switched up sometimes, but 1 is an anti-inflammatory. Well, they're both anti-inflammatories. 1 works in a way that it helps to promote your body's natural production of its own anti-inflammatory. And then the other enzyme, which is, one of them's 2, one of them's 10. So 1 helps to promote your body's own natural production of its own natural anti-inflammatory. It helps support the production of that. And the other enzyme, like I said, which one's 2, one's 10. The other interleukin, which is a protein, an enzyme that cannabis carries, what it does, it interacts with your leukin 2 and 10 or something like that. Okay, I'll try to find an article on that too. So it also suppresses your inflammatory production, okay, the thing that your body produces when it creates inflammation. So it's a twofold, like double whammy in a good way, okay, beneficial way. So, you know, this is why a lot of people refer to it in many cultures as, you know, the mother plant that watches over the garden and stuff. It's very healing. It has, the seeds have one of the richest profiles nutritionally. The oil, you can use it on your skin. Oh, to make a cannabis oil using hemp oil, so healing. You can, I probably won't post links to this, but you can check out for yourself on YouTube people who, you know, some people have injected, I wouldn't, but I mean, if you're suffering and you're dying from cancer, you're suffering a lot. You're willing to try anything. You're using yourself as a guinea pig because it's just life wanting to live. You just want to keep, you know, you start realizing how precious life is when you get sick like that. And you start realizing what the doctors, you know, the options you have there are bring you even closer to the brink of death. And, you know, chemotherapy, maybe, yeah, if something's really progressive, okay, I'm not saying not go to the doctor and do all that. But when you're done with your chemotherapy and you've healed, it's a very good idea to use preventative medicine. What did they say? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So on YouTube, there's people who have used it to get cancer, like skin cancer, to come up and out of their skin and off and to totally vanquish it from it's from your vessel. So eating it, using it topically, like I said, there's a man out here who he was making his own cannabis oil himself, making his own medicine, okay, himself, and injecting it, so he knew it was safe and all that. I'm not saying go inject stuff, but this is what he did, and he cured himself. Okay, cannabis is magical. You can juice the fresh green leaves, and that's one of the most powerful elixirs of greens that you can possibly, you know, you wouldn't want to eat the leaves. It's very it's like a grass, it's like a weed, it's very sticky, teethy, you know, so you can juice the green leaves, just like you would do wheatgrass, okay? You don't eat the grass, you definitely want to juice it. And there's people out here on, like I said, I have done extensive research on this medicine, okay, on this plant, and there's still so much more to learn. You know, a lot of people out here, they want to just know about smoking, getting high, and growing the biggest buds and blah blah blah. I'm interested in the science and the medicine and the you know, Israel actually has, if you find any sites that are you know, based in Israel, they really do a lot of, they really support that over there. Do a lot of scientific research on that. We do here in this country, but you don't really, they don't make it like headline news that they grow it at. I believe it's the University of Mississippi, not Tennessee. I believe it's Mississippi, because I'm thinking it's at the East Coast. So, yeah, they grow it at one of the universities for a federal program where they're studying cannabis. They grow it for the federal government, okay? So, you know, we know, we already know the benefits, you know, the information's out there. It's just you have to go find it for yourself, because it's not going to be on, you know, the local news or cable TV. You know, you got to search for the truth, you know, so... yeah, so very interesting. If you're interested in that, go check out these websites and the links that I post below, and may it be an enlightening experience for you. So, bless you all. I love you all, and peace be upon you all.